everybody today. There's people in the chat. That's cool. Let me have a look. I haven't looked yet. Where are we? What is up, everybody? Hey, we got the crew in. Yeah, the semi-hollow. It's the only guitar I've got with me at my hotel room at the moment. So I've got 3 guitars with me at the moment, and 2 I'm using for the show. So this is the jam sesh do things guitar. I love it. It's awesome. So comfy to play now, and very much my ode to Canadian rock bands from the 70s and 80s, right? Yeah, Noise Bloom knows. Hey, what's up, dude? Ultra Raptor from Quebec. I love that band. What's up, dude? If people like old school 80s heavy metal, would highly recommend Ultra Raptor, even just for the artwork. But the fact that the band sounds really good as well is pretty rad. So we got Leonardo. Hey, man, one day we will get there to Brazil, dude. That's a dream of mine. Absolute dream of mine. Alrighty, this one, we got a question from Pedrito. And apparently Pedrito is the best. How do you set up your action? Your guitars look very comfortable to play. Yeah, they're very comfortable to play. So you haven't seen the video I did with this guitar recently talking about it. This is a 79 ES335 TD. So it's got the little weird coil tap thing here. It's got the trapeze tailpiece and the Tunematic bridge. I always want to say bridge, but no, that's technically the tailpiece. So I had it refretted with it's in between medium jumbo and proper jumbo stainless steel frets, and so the fingerboard was all planed down and leveled, new frets installed and plecked. So the action is pretty low. It's not like, obviously you can still, the guitar actually still rings out, so it's not like sitting on the frets kind of vibe. But yeah, it's quite low. Shout out to Tim, Williams Guitars. If he's watching this, if he's tuning in, he's probably slaving away setting up other guitars at the moment. So yeah, he did a killer job on this. I'm so stoked with it. So that is one of the reasons. And Fortaleza, I think that's the way you say that. Hey, and what's up, GT? How are you, bro? Hope you're enjoying your Sunday. We're in the same time zone. Separate states, though. So I hope all is well, man. Did you bring the SC245? Would you believe that I didn't? The show I'm doing is a cabaret, so it's all standard tuning. And yeah, that guitar lives in drop C. It's the ragdoll guitar. So I've got my DGT and I've got my Rubato Lassie. So we do 6 shows a week. So having the really, really light carbon fiber guitar is actually quite nice on the shoulders. Not having to... the DGT's not a heavy guitar. It's not like a Les Paul or anything. But yeah, after doing a double show with that, where you play for 4 hours or something like that, you kind of start to feel it. So there we go. And hey, we got loads of people tuning in from Brazil. I've clearly chosen the right time slot. Guitar tone has improved a lot since I met your channel, mate. That's awesome. Happy to spread the love. So how's the tour going so far? Yeah, it's good. I say a tour because I'm away from home, but it's the show's at the same venue in Sydney for 8 weeks. Yeah, the shows have been really, really good. Last night in particular were probably the 2 best. So we did a double, and crowds were really into it. The later show, the crowd were they were pretty drunk, but they were kind of drunk in a good way, where they're not aggressive or too loud or anything. They were just getting into the spirit of it. So yeah, it's awesome. I get to play guitar solos while semi-naked girls swing around the top of a tent with their hair tied up. It's amazing. I have a 2000 McCarty. I love everything about the guitar except for the pickups, which are like oomph. Any suggestions? What's the rest of your rig like, mate? Because what do I have in my McCarty at the moment? I've got a Duncan 59 and a Sir Doug Aldrich. But that guitar's had loads of different pickups. It's yeah, the original pickups in it were probably fine, but yeah, that's a pretty cool combo. I've had Fishmans in it, which were cool. They sounded like passives, so I was like, well, why not just use passives? Saves me having to change a battery every now and then. And I had Duncan Seth Lovers in there, which were a bit too vintagey for that guitar. So yeah, I don't know, man. You could just go the stock JB Jazz or JB 59, sorry, Jazz 59, which would be a really cool combo. I don't love the JB as much as I think other people do. I think I prefer like the custom or the 59 when it comes to Duncans. So yeah, that's always a good starting point. Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm gonna call it a tour. The tour that's not a tour. I'm away from home, so I'm on tour. That's how I kind of look at it. Have a nice Sunday, bro. Hope you're doing good. Likewise, mate. Enjoy yourself. Say hi to the crew for me. NYC Geology playing through an OR15, playing silly rock and punk songs, mate. What other styles of rock and punk are there? That's the best type. I just got an SC250. This Joey Deno. My mind is blown. Blame you personally. Good. I'm happy to wear that charge. Guilty as charged. So, yeah, they're amazing guitars. The 250s and the 245s, man, they're totally vibey. This is a question from VT Music. What song was I playing at the beginning? I was playing a ragdoll song called The Last Time. I'll go through some bits if you're interested. It's kind of the, I want it to have a bit of a Lifeson feel to it with the droning chords. Chunky bridge first. Hey, this is why I'm not playing this guitar live at the moment, because the input jack every now and then cuts out. Should be an easy fix, but I don't know my soldering iron with me, do I? Come on, you're gonna do this live? Have you tried turning it on and off again? To quote the IT crowd. What is going on there? Yeah, I mean, hey, you want to get the input jack out of a 335, right? It's a bit of a nightmare, so I'm putting that one off. Yeah, so, and lots of those, like, droning G string in there. And that's probably one of my favorite solos on that record. Using the Phrygian dominant mode. Yeah, that song's got a kind of it's like a ragdoll grazing platter. You get a bit of everything that we're about on there. So yeah, that was the song anyway. And we got another question from Clyde Frog. Clyde Frog, the Clyde Dog. So I need to get some advice on where to look if I want to improve my personal lick catalog. I feel like I get stuck playing the same boring stuff all the time. Need more spice. Find someone on the internet who you really like their playing and book a lesson with them and just be like, yo, dude, give me 4 sick licks or concepts or something like that. Of course, you could sign up to my Patreon where there are a bunch of lessons on stuff that I do. The other thing would be, make a list of 20 of your favorite guitar solos and then go through and learn your favorite line from each of them. And then you got 20 licks. And, hopefully, the rest of the songs as well. So you kind of have the context for them, what chords to play them over and things like that. So yeah, it can be as straightforward as learning like 3 new lines and you're like, oh my God. So, if you do a lot of one interesting thing, right? If you do a lot of, pentatonic mayhem, one thing you can do would be look at some modal pentatonics. I just did a lesson about this on my Patreon. So, stuff like using the dominant pentatonic. Or the, well, you're kind of like repurposing stuff you can already do. You're just grasping a kind of new tonality, or there's fun stuff like practicing extended arpeggios. That kind of thing. This chair arm is killing my vibe. All that kind of thing. you do a lot of up and down stuff, then learn some lines that go across the neck. That kind of thing. So yeah, that would be my 2 pieces of advice. Just go and learn a bunch of stuff. Build your vocabulary up. It's like opening the dictionary or something like that. Are Silverchair legends there? Yeah, very, very, very much so. Man, like, hard to understate probably how many garage bands started because of them. Like, obviously, Frog Stomp is massive. Diorama's one of my, probably, definitely be in my top 4 or 5 Australian albums of all time. That is just an amazing record. Would highly recommend if anyone is unfamiliar with the band. I guess their early stuff, you know, it was grunge cosplay, right? But they really kind of developed, and Daniel's pretty amazing. So, yeah, definitely recommend. Like, I'd start with Diorama. It's a pretty amazing album. All the orchestration. There's a good one. Angus, what's up, man? I hope you're doing well, dude. I'm sure you know this feeling very, very well. The old hotel room jam station. I got the FM3, I got the Apollo, I got my laptop. Line check is fun. That's all I have to say, bro. Do you have a direct personal interaction with Yngwie? No, I didn't. One of my friends did the meet and greet, and the photo is really, really funny because it's like a meet and greet, but still with like the minimal amount of personal interaction, where like Yngwie's sitting in the middle of the table and this dude is at the other end of the table, like, hey, what's up, man? Yeah, so we, we weren't even allowed to be, you know, in our dressing room when he was backstage. We had to like evict. So yeah, I knew what I was in for. I knew it was going to be mayhem. Luckily the shows were great. It's like that. I felt the crowds were very receptive to what we were doing, and it's the least nervous I've ever been before a gig. I don't normally get nervous before gigs, but this was like 0%, because it's like, man, you got the Ing coming up. He's going to do his thing. It's going to be so outrageous. You just, you know, you're not going to compete. So just be the best version of yourself, which is actually probably something that, you know, applies no matter what gig you're doing. It's a good life lesson. But if people are like, oh man, are you nervous opening for Malmsteen? It's like, yeah, because I'm going to go out there and try to out Malmsteen. That would be a great idea. Let's see. How do you develop such low tension speed in your right hand? Can you please shed some light on the process in your right hand technique? Thanks so much. Interesting. This is something I definitely 100% take for granted, because it's probably been the one thing that I have just worked on forever. So we'll go way back in time. It's story time, kids. So I started playing, like seriously playing guitar when I was about 14, right? But there's videos of me playing guitar when I'm like 3 years old, walking around miming wah pedal noises and stuff like that. So yeah, I've kind of been around it my whole life. My dad's a great guitar player, and he still teaches guitar, right? So I spent a lot of time just kind of like, he'd be in his shed teaching, and I'd just kind of be sitting there in the corner watching him teach people and just like soaking up as much as I can. And the other big advantage of that was he just had so many CDs and records, right? So this was before music streaming. This was before music on the internet was really so accessible. I just had access to this incredible library of music you wouldn't hear on the radio, or you just wouldn't be able to go out and find easily. So I remember starting with really good fundamentals, because he was like, if you want to play guitar, do this. But I remember learning a major scale and him saying, oh, hey, check out this guy, Frank Gambale. He does this thing called economy picking, right? So, you know, I learned 3-note per string scales doing that. And I'm terrible at it because I haven't practiced it since I was about 15. So that's how I got into practicing doing economy picking, which I think immediately, you know, when you're not doing big kind of swishy motions, it was like, yeah, just don't move too much. And then I saw Paul Gilbert Intense Rock, and I was trying to play that stuff with economy picking, and of course it works, but you end up alternate picking with a different like pick polarity. So yeah, when I was about 15, I remember trying this stuff, having the realization like, oh, that's why I can't do it. And I literally went, right, I'm just going to spend a month. I'm going to learn how to pick again. So I did a lot of that kind of stuff. And then I practiced like all the sweep shapes I had learned, all that kind of stuff. Alternate picking, you know, and I've gotten into players like Petrucci and Steve Morse and Michael Schenker and all that stuff. So alternate picking's cool. So practicing a lot of that. So this is just history. Like, you know, I retooled my playing really early on. Like I could kind of play guitar okay after about 12, 18 months of really taking it seriously. Like I could play songs, I could play a few guitar solos, I could play a few little like speedy things. But yeah, retooling the alternate picking was a big thing. And I used to sit and like have a mirror in front of me because I liked the way Paul looked when he picked. So I tried to copy that motion. Fast forward maybe like, let's see, maybe around 2016, 2017, there were like a few things I always found really difficult to play. So yeah, I think I just kind of like rediscovered my love of playing guitar, and I started practicing heaps at home again. We did a lot of touring between like 2012 and 2016, and I didn't really have a home rig at the time, so you know, I'd play at gigs and I'd play on tour, and that was about it. But I got an Axe-Fx, so I could get great sounds at home. Dug the sound, you know, it's this like positive feedback cycle where you start playing a lot. So yeah, and then I just kind of got into the efficiency thing. You know, getting into actually playing legato, I think really helped as well. So not doing too much, and then just like, you know, getting into different players. The YouTube era, you know, when you start seeing players like Andy Wood, Tom Quayle, all these dudes who, you know, they have ridiculous technique where you're like, okay, so, you know, I'm into the ridiculous technique from like 1988, but now it's 2018, and, you know, the stuff that people can do, and also the Troy Grady instructional stuff I think was really handy just for having the language to talk about certain things. So like being aware of, you know, pick angle and pick slant and things like that. So yeah, that's the Cliff Notes version of everything. Hopefully people still tuning into this. Yeah, I'll talk about the mixed modes thing in a second as well. Just trying to catch up on the chat. So, all right, we'll catch up with a few things in here. So anyway, here's a great thing if you want to get some... I kind of realized, hey, if you're going to be good at picking, you have to be really, really relaxed, right? Because the thing that will kill you is tension. You want to avoid tension, right? Tension is the enemy of stamina when it comes to playing guitar. And big thing like with my left hand, you know, developing some stuff where it's like, okay, cool. If you just grip really hard, then you're gonna just only tense up even more as you're playing. So you try to... Whereas if you just like back off as much as possible to, you know, where you're not even like making the notes, and then you just press a little bit harder. It's like, oh cool. There, I don't need to press that hard. Although my ring finger always wants to press a bit hard, which is why I don't use it too much. So there's that, and then the right hand thing. This is a great exercise. This is my point, right? This has taken me 7 minutes to get to. So let's say you want to just play a descending 3-note per string. You do the good old split sixes sequence. A really cool way to practice that is with a floating wrist and to really over-exaggerate the motion, right? Like you're strumming, like... And you see, it's interesting, right? Outside of classical guitar, basically the only big guitar style that has an orthodox technique is gypsy jazz guitar. And you see gypsy jazz players play, let's say gypsy jazz and maybe like bluegrass with cross picking. Everything else is like fair game. That's one of the cool things about rock guitar in particular, right? Rock, blues, jazz, all these hybrid mutt styles out there. where being unorthodox is cool, is there's not an orthodox technique. You can kind of do whatever you want, and all the fun stuff happens because it's unorthodox. But like gypsy jazz players play with quite a like bend in the wrist, and I can't play that style to save my life. But what I noticed was like doing that, and shaking your wrist so it's super relaxed. This helps me relax, right? There's a feeling that I want that. And if it's a bit sloppy, that's fine. Okay, you practice anything with this. So you're doing the floaty wrist. I should move this comment out of the way, shouldn't I? So you can actually see my wrist. So, I think about it like this. I call it the flipper. I actually kind of probably got onto this playing a bunch of Friedman stuff. So, that, where you just let your wrist go limp, and, you use that to just get in and... It doesn't matter if it's sloppy, man. It's just about the feeling. All that kind of stuff. So you use that as a way to like calibrate how relaxed you should feel. And then all I do is, anchor this part of my wrist here. And it's a weird, I'm thinking of the loose wrist thing, but then... So that's the... Also, trying to maintain a consistent pick slant and angle, what I used to do was like I'd anchor my hand and I'd play, I wouldn't move it. So I'd play here. By the time you end up here, you have a totally different pick slant to when you're here. You've got like a downward slant and you've got like a neutral slant. So what you do is you move, you just move your wrist very subtly that way as you go. It's like such a basic thing. And I found that helped a lot. So yeah, there's a, the long and the short of it with all of this. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. So I think for me, I still base 90% of what I do is like the default is strict alternate picking. And then you want to skip a string, hybrid pick. You want to like do something a little widdly, economy pick. So, there's, I think the thing, and I stress this a lot, is like, again, there's no like orthodox way to do this. I don't think there is a best way. There is, for me, like a minimal set of things that I want to keep in my head at any time. And I can reconstruct all the, okay, so I studied mathematics, right? I want my playing to be like a set of axioms, and then I'll figure out all the theorems as I go. I want the techniques to be really minimal. I don't want to spend too much time practicing stuff that I'm never going to use. I want to be able to have a solid foundation that's going to let me play stuff. And then if I can't play something, I'm just going to practice it, right? That's the thing. It's like get onto the music element of much of it as possible. So alternate hammer on pull-off helps to increase speed, string gauge, and low string action. Yeah, there's lots of stuff. And there's always, exceptions to this. So I'm not bashing the guy, but so many players are ignorant of the mechanics of a guitar. Yeah, I mean, a good way to think about this is behavior. If you're going to practice guitar, you're practicing a set of behaviors. And if you want to take those behaviors onto stage, well, they need to be consistent and you need to be able to reproduce them, right? So, yeah, good. I mean, alternate picking's fun, I think the lick that really helped me crack it was that Yngwie Sixes thing he does. So yeah, big detour. I hope that made sense. Has Torin ever tried a hush? I don't know, Michael Torin, have you? Using the decimator. I remember getting an IntelliFX and being like, this thing has hush, awesome. And just not understanding how to use it and thinking that hush absolutely sucked. But isn't it that, so the team of engineers at Rocktron like got sold to GHS, I believe. But then the founders of Rocktron went and started ISP. So the decimator is kind of the evolution of the Hush. I think that's the one. Yeah, and a lot of people swear by the rack decimator as well. I still never tried one. I did a demo of the ISP Theta last year. What was that this year? It's been a long year, man. And that was cool. I thought the built-in noise reduction in it was amazing. So I really want to try the standalone decimator because people swear by it. You had an Axe Effects question earlier on. Tarania, I apologize for missing that. Let's go back in the chat. That's a great noise that everybody wants to listen to. My thinking noises. Where on earth was that? Did you do a video this week on the... This isn't the question. I'll get to your other one, mate. Feel free to answer it again. On the Friedman Plex. I actually did a video with the Plex for launch in the middle of May. And then I recut that video to take all the talking bits out of it. And I posted that during the week. So there's actually 2 videos with the Plex. If you want to hear me talk about it and how it works, there's a full-length video. If you just want to listen to the sounds, there's also a video about that on there. So, all right, mate. I cannot find your Axe Effects question. So ask it again. And then I'll play another Raggy Doll tune. It's under my comment about Silverchair. Okay. I'm just going to wait for it to get asked again because I don't want to scroll back through. This is great. You have 2 teaspoons of Vegemite. Make sure you have some butter with it, bro. That's the way to go, right? That's how we do it around here. Yeah, it'd be really interesting getting the Grady magnet thing and analyzing it. I feel like it would be one of those things where there's stuff I think I'm doing that I'm actually not doing, and there's stuff I think I'm not doing that I actually am doing. So yeah, that'd be interesting. But really good way to just, if you want to challenge yourself, like I said, try the floating wrist thing. Because if you look at players like Marty Friedman, Zach Wilde does insane stuff with a floating wrist. It's a cool way if you ever feel like you're getting too tense while you're trying to play a line, then yeah, you just kind of... Here we go, Tarania. We got it. What's a good amp model for a punk rhythm lead tone, mate? Any of them, basically. But if you're going for like a 90s thing, man, JCM 800 or a 5150, like they will always do the trick, in my opinion. The 5150s are really kind of tight. Really easy to dial in as well. You just got to turn the presence control up a lot. I'm using the 5153 Stealth at the moment, which I love. It's like one of my 3 favorite dirty amp models, like the 800, the Mark IV, the 5150. I don't think I really need anything else in my life, right? And tone is in the Vegemite, 100%. How do you use delay when playing fast? I feel like it collides with my playing. What are some ideal settings? I think a big thing is to cut out a lot of the high end and a bit of the low end in there. If you're playing in stereo, it helps as well, because normally your guitar is here and then the echoes kind of do this. So that helps. What I like is, it's a pretty generic thing, right? There's like maybe 3 or 4 delay sounds I'll use. One is like the halo style thing, so you have a dotted 8th note rhythmic subdivision over here. So say 300 milliseconds, 400 milliseconds, so you get that gut rhythmic thing happening. Lots of high cut, like take everything from 4K out. Actually, I'll give you an example of this. It's kind of cool, and I will play the Ragdoll song with the King's X pre-chorus after this, because I get to do a little bit of delay. I mean, and like we'll come back to this delay thing. I think a 5150 is nice. I mean, you're kind of never going to know until you actually do it. And probably a bigger factor in there is going to be the type of cabinet or cabinet IR that you use in there, and if you want to use any post-processing. But man, like a 5150 is just, it's a good neutral starting point, right? So that's awesome to hear, dude. How good's the nitrous? Hey, it's like a Recto 800. Anyway, back to Rummy's question. Delays. So let me do a bit of this. So what am I doing at the moment? So this is a multi-tap delay. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is a dotted eighth note and a quarter note. So it's like 300-ish milliseconds, 400-ish milliseconds over there. And I always sync it up to the tempo, right? So if I'm playing... So you kind of hit a note. Here it's going da ga da ga da ga. So the delays are never like coinciding with your playing. Where do I have the EQ? So I'm cutting everything from 4K with a really harsh high cut. If I have the high cut out, hear that? Definitely clashes a lot more. And there's a bit of kind of drive on that delay as well. So you take the high cut in. That's a really cool one. Another one I like are the kind of Van Halen style, like later era Van Halen style delays. So you get, when he was using the SDEs. So this is 400 milliseconds on one side, 800 on another. Again, it's kind of giving it that bit of space. And the other one I really like is using the good old 2290, but setting it up to pan around the spectrum. So and again, it's like you don't have the delay banging in the same place. If you've got a mono setup though, a really straightforward way to get that cooking would be, what's my favorite mono delay in here? 1 second. I mean, just again, take out heaps of the high end. It seems to seems to work pretty nicely, in my opinion. So surely I just have a basic mono delay in here. Here we go. So this is mix about 25%. The high cut, I've got it 4K and a very steep slope on it. So yeah, this is just straight up mono delay. There's not too much of it. And you could go for a longer time, like 600 milliseconds is cool. That always sort of sits nicely. And this is running it after the amp and cab. If you run in front of the amp and the cab, it's going to be really smeary and aggressive. So another good one. Another good one. Playing high speed in ambient halls can turn the sound into mush. How do you adjust EQ settings for ambient rooms to avoid mushy sound? I normally leave that up to whoever's doing front of house, to be honest. Hopefully they know the room. But again, man, it's kind of balance and it's kind of context as well. We're playing in a Spiegel tent at the moment, and I've got some sounds where it's like a 20-second reverb on my tone with multi-delay. And it actually works really, really well in there for the stuff that we're doing. If we were playing hard rock the whole night, probably wouldn't do that. Probably pull a bit of low end out, maybe even a bit of extra high end out. Where you like sit the guitar in the mix is important as well. So, all right, I'm going to play the Ragdoll song with the King's X pre-chorus. It is called Follow the Leader. And this is by request by John Deshane. And sounds like this. Starts with bass, which is nice, which lets me kind of reset myself. Where are we at? Where are we at? Good question. I need to find it now. Streaming your own stuff from Spotify. Here we go. All right, this one's called Follow the Leader. Something like that anyway. Oh, it's going to play again. I had some levels off in there, so I was adjusting on the fly. I hope nobody minded too much. Anyway, that one's for John DeShane. Hope you enjoyed it, mate. There's a question from Sober Vegan. What about tips for delaying to the front of the amp? No effects loop. This is a different game altogether. I like that for certain things, like for the really, if I want to do the kind of rhythmic delay thing, then like a tape delay or a kind of, again, a bandwidth limited delay in front of an amp, you know, set up for like a dotted eighth note thing. It's got a really, running it before the amp gives you way more of a percussive thing. That kind of thing, right? So another thing as well is, like, if you were going to try and do a lead thing with this, very, very low mix. I'll go back to my main live preset and I'll put a, let's do a tape style delay in the front. I'm going to put the mix at like 3%, which sounds crazy, but again, you're running this into a heavily distorted amp. So high cut is at like 4K again, bit of low cut on there. What is this, 300 milliseconds, you know, that. Well, that sounds pretty cool, right? If you've got even more distortion, you know, and you want to go for a low feedback as well, because you've got so much distortion on there as well. Yeah, so look, for playing lead stuff, I definitely like having the delay 90% of the time after the main source of distortion, so that you've got the distortion being echoed rather than the echoes being distorted. But you can make it work, just low mix, low feedback. Yeah, fractal for this. I got the FM3 on here. Luke, thank you for asking. It's just my main live preset for anyone interested in that kind of thing. This one is from Rummy. Thank you for the mono delay tip. I'm using a diamond memory delay in front of the amp. The delay has a dark setting. I will try. Dude, thank you very much. I will go and get a coffee this afternoon before the show, and I'll sip it and I'll think of you. That's awesome. Yeah, 100%. And this is a cool thing about going out and buying a delay pedal now. It's like, you know, manufacturers are onto this. They know not everyone has the same setup. So like, hey, we'll give them a dark setting. So if they are running it in front of an amp, then it's cutting off a lot of that high end. And, you know, if you think about what's happening to the signal, normally your amp's just getting your guitar. Now it's getting your guitar and a copy of your guitar. And if they're both the same thing, those two things, you've got like twice as much stuff, right? Trying to fit into the same the same tube. If you take a bit of the low end, a bit of the high end out, then you've still got your really strident full bandwidth guitar signal, and then something that's not as pokey, I guess would be the way I'd say that. So yeah, Mark Kelly, what is going on, Mark Kelly? How are you, mate? What's news? What's Vegemite? It's basically, I think it developed as like the scrapings from the bottom of barrels of beer, but it's like a nutritional supplement, right? It's just delicious. If you've grown up with it. If you haven't grown up with it, it's probably like the worst thing on earth. So yeah, man, anyone who hears the tire table in there knows what's going on. The tuning is now intolerable. I'm properly out. Horrendous. Betcha it's the D string. It's the D string, or in this case the C string, because I'm in drop C. Oh, and a bit of the fifth string. There we go. mean, how good's a drop tuning? Because you just play any one finger power chord and hit the G. And it kind of sounds like King's X. So good. So good. Where are we at in the chat? Yes, the 30 millisecond thing. I've really been getting into, with the clean sound, having a slapback thing for funk on it. We do Sissy Strut in the show for one of the acts. So this guy doing this hand balance thing, 15 feet in the air, and doing some of the solos with a really short slapback. It's sick. There is no truer truth than that when it comes to Vegemite. For better or for worse. Only delay you run in front of the amp is the Echoplex. Yeah, for Van Halen one. Yep. And I also like it for the Blackmore thing, like Mistreated. That's the way it is. Dom, what's up, dude? From the snowy north. It's the Aussie version of Marmite. Good way of saying it. That's probably a better reference point for a lot of people. Do you feel with the Fractal Live using a cabinet that you feel the need to add more low end? A lot of artist presets seem to have the low pumped with an output going to a cab. I think a lot of people, I'm just lazy, so taking a cabinet and a power amp to a gig is something I haven't done for years. But it is awesome, especially if you're playing smaller places, because then, you've got an on-stage sound that the people at the front can actually hear. So, yeah, I think, oh man, I actually don't have I sold my Boogie 212 a couple of years ago, because I basically was barely using it. But I would like to get another 1x12 or a 2x12 just for those kind of gigs and take something. But, I feel like anytime I gigged with a cab, I would pump the low end on stage because it feels good. It probably doesn't sound great. The sound guy's probably tearing a lot of that out, but it's the on-stage experience that's really, really satisfying with guitar out of a cabinet. It's the the low end and some of the subsonic stuff in there, which is just awesome. It's awesome. So yeah, I can see why they do that. They're probably not sending that to front of house for the mix that the majority of the audience hears, but having an enjoyable onstage experience is important as well. And Joe Alba. Oh, awesome. Yeah, man. The Mark 1s now are selling for pretty good prices, so jump on it when you can. Jump on it when you can. To get a pure clean sound in your Fractal, what are your settings on input 1 gain and AD sensitivity? The input 1 gain I don't touch. That's just at the stock settings. And then the AD sensitivity, I think I have about 12%, 20%. I don't touch it. I just change it on the amp model. And build, I'll build specific presets for specific guitars. So having said that, I built this preset for my SC245. I play it with the DGT. I play it with this guitar. I play it with the rubato. It's, I just like different guitars sounding like themselves. So best sound tip for guitar tones coming out via front of house. Probably the best tip, buy your sound engineer a beer or a coffee. And then they'll be in a slightly better mood, and they might actually care about mixing you. So I say it in jest, but it's the truth. Be nice to your front of house and your monitor people, because their job is sometimes a little bit loveless. So if you kind of show them that you're patient and you're willing to care, then that can be nice. And thank you to Stephen P for the super chat, mate. Please ask me something, Stephen. You have all of my unbridled attention at the moment. It's 1:45 here in Sydney, which is good fun. Yeah, thank you, Stephen. Massively appreciate it, mate. That is going to be that caffeine in the bloodstream at some point this week. What am I trying to play? What is that? Oh, it's Rising Force, isn't it? What does he do? dun. Good old Malmsteen. Just got an FM3. And I watched so many of your vids. What do you prefer, 5153 Stealth Red or Dual Rectifier 1 Red? Oh, mate, that's a bit of a tough one. Look, nothing sounds like a recto, so for the right thing, if I was tracking some big chungus guitars, the recto would be perfect, but I've been using the Stealth Red Live. It's just a great high gain tone, man. It's like, it's got everything that I like in it. It's got, I do use the Mark IV a lot as well, but I feel like the Stealth has a little bit more hair about it, which I've been enjoying a lot recently. So, but when it's like I just watched Jackie Brown. If anyone's, it's probably my favorite Tarantino movie, right? Do I have a dual rectifier thing? Boosted recto, like. It just has that dry thing, but there's the scene with the guns and when he's talking about the AK-47. I won't repeat it here, but you all know what I mean. The recto, I'll mute my mic so you can just hear this unbridled chuggity chug chug beast. Where are we at? Yeah, so this is the recto. It's great. It's so good. And then we go back to 5153 Stealth. I've got it dialed in for a much tighter thing. So yeah, there is no best or worst. There's just, you've got access to all of this thing, all of these beautiful things on there. So yeah, you use the one that you like. That's the most important lesson. So, hey, and isn't this the truth over here, Stephen P? What music are you listening to lately that moves you? I've been revisiting the music of Gentle Giant. I really like Gentle Giant, man. Great band. Man, that reminds me of being about 20 and just spending a whole year listening to English prog bands, listening to all the early Genesis stuff. And Gentle Giant, Camel, I'm a big fan of from that era. Soft Machine, there's a lot of good stuff. Obviously, your Yes and your King Crimson, your big bands like that as well too. So, what have I been listening to recently? That's a good question. It's funny, right? So most of the time if I'm in the gym or something, I'm probably listening to like a podcast, a history podcast or something like that. I'm just curious about stuff. But yeah, what have I been listening to? It's a good question. They've actually probably been just like listening to a bunch of the songs from the. I saw Evergrey have a new album out, which I'm keen to check out. There's a few other things which have come out recently where, people have been like, man, you need to listen to this. So, yeah, there's been a few pop things, a few country things. I really liked the latest Bring Me the Horizon single they put out. I haven't listened to the album yet, but the music video for it was insane. But it's kind of like them. There's almost like a J-pop element in there. They're using some of those like the classic cliche anime chord progression in there, and then all the good old staples. Your Floyd and your Purple and Van Halen. You know, I'm not that interesting. Whitesnake, Sykes. The Coverdale Page album is really good. If anyone hasn't checked that one out. Hughes and Thrall. That's probably been the album I've been listening to the most. Bit of Glenn Hughes. So, yeah. Lots of stuff. Synthwave. Big Synthwave fan. The Midnight. They've been probably the band I have listened to the most over the last, say, 5 years or something. So, yeah. What about? Give me some recommendations, people. What new stuff can I check out? Can I get that exact EVH patch with my FM3? You can. It is really straightforward, man. It's the 5153 Stealth Red with like everything except at 7, except for the presence, which is at 9.5. And the master volume's at like 2.5. It's my free IR, some stereo pitch detune, a bit of plate reverb on it. That's kind of a bit it. Sleep Terror. Ooh, that sounds fun. Proggy surf country metal. Hell yeah. That sounds awesome. That's right up my alley. 662, 13-year-old man. These kids these days, right? These kids these days. Government Mule, self-titled. Warren is God. How good is he? Yeah, my usual LTTVIR. The Ghost Impera album is amazing. My wife is a big Ghost fan, so we listen to a lot of Ghost. Whether I like it or not is always a joke. But no, they're a fantastic band. I really liked their second album and the album after that, the one that has Cerise on it. They're probably my favorite ones, and the new stuff is definitely a bit more pop, almost verging on like musical theater. I wouldn't be surprised if they did a like a stage show at some point, because there's a lot of that. I mean, like you hear the song Rats, right? And it sounds super camp, super musical theater on there. So yeah, they're doing some good stuff. Like I said, I'm keen to check out that new Evergrey album because I quite like them. What else? Buddy of mine, Warren Mendoza, his project Blackstrap Blues, I would highly recommend. Very Gilmore and Gilmore, Jeff Beck kind of adjacent stuff. Some really amazing stuff on there. So I've been listening to a lot of that as well. Got to hang out with Warren in New Zealand, which was pretty sick. And yeah, that Hughes Thrall album, man, that's the source. I've been loving that so much. What about Mike Portnoy back in Dream Theater? I mean, it's cool that they got the boys back together. I kind of, as much as I love Scenes from a Memory and I love Images and Words, Dream Theater just like the last bunch of albums haven't done it for me, you know. Nothing against them as dudes, nothing against them as a band. They're amazing, you know, but they're one of those bands where their fans kind of ruin it a little bit for me. And you know what I mean? Like you look up a Dream Theater live video on YouTube and every comment is like a fucking essay about how like Mangini didn't do the exact 16th note triplet double bass pattern at timestamp 422 that Portnoy would have done. You know, it's like, man, enjoy the music. You know, it's just like, you know, the saying like, no one hates Metallica more than Metallica fans. Like, no one hates James LaBrie more than Dream Theater fans. It's like, man, you know, they're not 20 years old anymore. You know, just enjoy the fact that they're out there still performing and they're playing these great songs that they've written. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I will listen to the new album with Portnoy. Of course I will, because, you know, like the classic stuff they've done, they're one of those bands where it's like I like enough of their stuff to always go and listen to it, and they're phenomenal musicians, right? So yeah, there's a lot of that. I've been listening actually to the Jackie Brown soundtrack and going down the Tarantino rabbit hole recently. And there's just so many good songs on there, especially that one, because it's kind of, you know, it's basically a blaxploitation soundtrack, right? So there's a lot of funk, there's a lot of soul on there, there's a lot of 60s and 70s. Just great stuff, great singing melodies, and yeah, that kind of, I don't listen to a lot of, I'm at that age where I love playing rock guitar, but I don't listen to as much of it as I used to. Where are we? What else are you listening to? I literally at this Tyler Jakes is really good if you haven't heard of him. I have not heard of him. I will check that out. I was got a gear podcast episode coming out Sunday, so it'll be Sunday night in Australia, Sunday morning in rest of the world kind of thing, about 335s, and yeah, we chat a little bit. Jared James Nichols, obviously awesome. That guy goes hard. Love that. Unleash the Archers are in Australia. We'll be able to see them. I won't. I'm gigging when they're here, and I'm obviously not in Perth at the moment, so yeah. Interesting band. I haven't heard a lot of their stuff, but my friend's band Silent Night in Perth, they're like a great power metal band. If you like power metal, definitely go and check them out. They're supporting them, so I've been seeing a lot about it. And their guitar player, Cam Nicholas, man, he's like Michael Romeo 2.0. He's so good. So good. John DeShane, being on an old school Enya kick. Now we're talking. Yeah. I might do the same, actually. Do you like Clannad as well, John? I think that was the rest of the family band. I didn't realize that, but yeah, they got some cool stuff. Tyler plays a 335. Good choice. Murray guitar pickups has wound the pickups. Yes. I'm excited about this, dude. Very, very keen to check them out. I'll have to wait until August to check them out, but that's part of the fun. Silent K Night. Yeah, the second one in there. Check them out. Yeah, so the guy singing for them at the moment, a buddy of mine, Dan, I recorded guitar on Dan's solo album, which is like a kind of Judas Priest, King Diamond, Rainbow crossover. Some of the lyrics are like really, really interesting, the stuff he's writing about. It's like very old school heavy metal, basically. But yeah, Dan is now in Silent Night. So yeah, and he's great, really fun frontman to watch. And he's got that King Diamond helium in his voice thing going on. He can sing very, very high, very consistently with a lot of power. So yeah. New King Crimson I haven't checked out yet. And the Anthrax first album. You know what? I will admit, I haven't listened to that much Anthrax. I was more a Megadeth and Testament thrash guy, and Exodus. So yeah, one of those bands where it's been like, I should get into them. I should take the time and listen to more than just the songs everybody knows. But yeah, maybe I'll do that later today in the gym. I'm going to play another song for all of you, actually. While we're talking about music, you should check out some music that I made. I'm going to play Rust. Am I going to play Rust? Yeah, I'm going to play Rust. There's a Ragdoll song called Rust. Let's go.
Yourself.
That was definitely a bit rusty. Apologies about the pun. All right. I'll answer a few more questions, then I'm going to split. Get on with the rest of my day. Where are we? Bit of a Seven Dust vibe. Very cool. Yeah. When are you guys going on tour full time? Well, if someone wants to take us on tour full time and pay us, man, we'll 100% do that. But the economics of it definitely do not work in an independence band favor. As much as I love the music, and as much as we've been pushing it for as long as we have, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I think we're really fortunate being able to do as much of what we've done as much as we do, and we get to do it at our own pace, and own everything ourselves and all those kind of things. So yeah, it's who's touring full time outside of massive arena acts and things like that? It would be cool. It would be nice. I guess I'm on tour for the next 2 months, so that's how I make that work. Do you have any Ragdoll albums? Yeah, it's all on Spotify, dudes. So I'm at this burger. Leon plays Russ. Didn't even get me a chance. Well, my apologies. It just means you have to get another burger, right, dude? Token Yngwie lick number 1. Gotta get that thing in there. There's a line. That is Stanktown, isn't it? Oh man. There we go. Like the whole solo is built around that one little riff, isn't it? Yeah, thank you, Colin. It's now that it's been refretted, man. And stainless frets. It's kind of set for my lifetime with the with it anyway. So sometimes it's all about how the fish fry is marinated. Amen to that, dude. Amen. And Six Fingered Assault. Yeah, you can buy them directly from us. We have a Bandcamp store with our merch, which is cool. That's, it all goes to us. That's the best way to do it. This one is from Tyler. Do you typically reduce presence and treble for your leads as well as a mid and volume boost? Not really, just mostly a volume boost and probably like a mid-heavy boost before the amp to push it a little bit more. But yeah, I kind of leave the basic EQ stuff where it is. I always think with the presence control, because it's a power amp control, that leaving that where it is leaves things to kind of behave the way it should. How much do you love that semi-hollow? Quite a lot. Love is definitely the right word. And see you, Dom. Take it easy, mate. Be good, and if you can't be good, don't get caught. Amen to that. All right, dudes, I'm going to say the same thing to everyone else on this thing. Be good, and if you can't be good, don't get caught. Have a great day. I'll be doing another live stream really soon. If you're in Sydney, come and see the show. Otherwise, peace. Big peace. See you, legends.